Hi, I'm Joe. This is the Chaparral 224 Sunesta. Chaparral calls it a wide-tech Sunesta. If you looked at my videos on the 216 SSI, you'll see that wide-tech means this bow. This kind of Batmobile bow style. And the reason that this is important is because this is the first time you've got a boat married to a true DV hull, and at the same time you've got a bow that reminds us a little bit of a performance deck boat. And what this design lets us do is have a lot more space up in the bow, which I'll demonstrate in a moment. But since we're outside of the boat, let's start with the hull design. Okay. Chaparral uses a true DV hull on these boats. So it's a better riding boat with more dead rise than any other boat in its class. It easily outperforms any competitor's boat. Let me point out a couple of specific things. First of all, on every Chaparral, we have what's called an extended B-plane hull, or an extended running surface hull. And what that means simply is that, come on back here, what that means simply is that the running surface of this boat goes back further on a Chaparral than it does most competitors' brands. Now, what this means to the customer? Well, think about it like this. If this boat is 8 inches longer than a competitor's boat at the bottom, and you're running that over about 8 feet, well, not quite 8 feet because of the cutout for the drive unit, I'll say about 6 feet of beam or width, and you probably got another 4, 5, 6 square feet of running surface on a 22-foot boat. And what that means is the boat's going to ride like a bigger boat. It's going to ride smoother in rough water. Also, because this runs back further in relationship to the propeller, the boat's going to turn better, and the boat's going to come over on the plane quicker, which means it's going to pull skiers better, and it's going to hold its planing speed at a lower RPM and at a lower speed, so that you can pull wakeboards better, and also if you have to run in rough water, you can go slow and stay on plane, which makes the boat a lot safer. It also adds to the buoyancy of the boat, which makes the boat safer as well. You'll see Chaparral's major competitor, biggest competitor, same size boat, will hold 8 people. This boat will hold 12 people, and that's because of its buoyancy. A quick note about dead rise. It's very easy to figure out whether a company is kind of fibbing about their dead rise angle. You take a look. This boat's supposed to have a 20-degree dead rise, and you can see it looks pretty sharp. Look at the back of the boat. They say it's a 20-degree dead rise, but it looks flatter. That means they're not measuring dead rise, or the sharpness of the V of the bottom, at the back of the boat. They're measuring it somewhere else. The proper measurement should be taken at the stern, right here. You can see something a little bit different about this bottom. They've got a little flat spot here. There's a flat spot on the bottom of this keel, and that's designed so the boat will have more top speed. Finally, talk a little bit about Volvo Penta. Volvo Penta here we're using the Duoprop drive unit. They make two drive units. The Duoprop, you have 2 propellers spinning opposite each other. One's more diameter, the other is smaller diameter, more pitch. And what this do is it makes the boat track straighter, come over faster, and stay on plane with more people on it. Okay, now we're going to go over the features of the stern of a Chaparral 224 Sunesta. Now, one thing to bear in mind, we have competitors that have aft-facing seats on the swim platform, and this is very handy. Swim platform is a back porch on a boat. When you're anchored up, the kids or other people will be back there. You'll be talking back and forth, handing sodas to each other or whatnot, pulling kids up on tubes, sticking them on the tubes, shoving them back off. So there's a few things that are important about a swim platform. One, you want to be able to use it as a back porch and entertainment area, kind of like your deck. Secondly, you want it to be low to the water, so that it's easy to get on and off the boat. And third, you want to have easy access into the boat. So Chaparral does all 3. Let's start here. First of all, this backrest. Always sit in the seats of a boat. This backrest fits the small of my back in the perfect spot. On my competitor's boat, it's too low. Number two, do we have storage or a cooler here on the back porch? Here we have a cooler, okay, or you can use it as a storage area. But as you can imagine, if you had some sodas or beer back here, and people off of the back of the boat, it'd be very easy for them to either get on and off the boat and grab that stuff without cracking the boat up, or two, you can hand it down to them. Second thing to notice is the gas bill. Now, every boat has a gas bill. This one's got one on both sides. Now, if you pull into a pier to fill up the fuel, or you pull, more importantly, into a gas station if you got the boat on a trailer, you don't have to remember which side the fuel fills on. And that can be a big deal. This thing's behind a car going into a gas station. Here's your water fill, and here's your transfer shower. Not all boats have this. The Potomac River is a handy thing to have because we have a silt bottom in the river. A lot of times you get on the boat and have muddy feet. And that'll give you a chance to wash them off without getting it all up in the boat. Okay, this is a remote for your stereo because the person is probably going to want to change the channels, you know, and they don't want to, here again, you don't want to track the whole boat up just to change channels. And then this is the stern drive up, stern drive down. Now, I like, when I'm anchored up, even though you can tell right here, the propeller doesn't stick out much from the platform, even when the drive unit's all the way up. Drive unit's all the way down. This propeller is under the platform. So it's really not a big safety issue, but still, I always like to turn the wheel to the left. When you turn the wheel to the left when you anchor the boat, then the drive unit's going to be over here instead of over here where the ladder is. Now, one of the ways to know that it's turned over to the left is that you use this trim up button and the drive unit will come up. It's also handy if you get something wrapped around the prop. Okay, swim ladder. This shouldn't be a very big deal, should it? Everybody's got a ladder to get on and off, right? Well, this is what happens when you design a boat correctly. It's easy to get on and off with this one. Okay? Because the telescope in a ladder, it goes very deep into the water. So you can see is very, you know, if you're standing on the river bottom or you're trying to climb on board this boat, you've got a handhold here and you go very deep in the water. You don't have to climb as hard. But this as well, you've got a grab rail right here too. And that's great because when you get to the front you're halfway off the boat, and like if you're a little bit awkward, like I am, then you know, getting on and off the boat's made a whole lot easier. You don't have that beach wailing. I like having a swim platform where you don't trip all over everything. You know, I don't like having our ladder exposed. I want it under a hatch. I want that hatch flush with everything else. I don't want stuff I can stub my toe on. You can see you have these cleats right here. Now those cleats are handy as heck. If you're towing two tubes instead of one tube, you just tie one to each one of those. And if you have a skier, somebody, and they're trying to go outside, those cleats are down like that, they don't catch on anything. And drink holders right here, grab rail right here, although do not sit back here when the boat's running, but I'm glad it has a grab rail in case somebody doesn't listen. Stainless steel bimini top. Okay, now some of this just comes down to how much does the kit cost. A lot of boat manufacturers will use stainless steel figs, and then they'll use aluminum poles. And use an aluminum pole, you can't do things like this. See, this is here to keep this whole bimini top more rigid, keep it from moving around. That's what this purpose is. If you use an aluminum piece, you can't bend it like this. If you do, then after the first couple of times you use it, you're going to bend it the rest of the way and it won't be usable anymore. So, you know, this is something that costs a little bit more money, but it's the thing that makes Chaparral a little bit better boat. Notice here, one last thing I'll show you, and we'll go to the next video. Not only is it a door, but it's swing either way, and the door's big enough to do some good. You know, if you're going to have a transit, it's a really handy way to have it. Walk through on a side like this is probably the handiest way to go. If you're going to be like that, you want to have some kind of gate to keep a dog or a kid inside.